There is nothing as alluring and as so obvious as a city centre prison.
This prison has just been sat there for a decade. There's only a limited amount of places of that scale that are still yet to be done. The clock was ticking.
The prison always seemed completely impenetrable. You just thought nobody could ever do this.
All you can see beneath you is this horrible spiky razor wire. It's terrifying. We are down inside Reading Prison.
It just seemed like a fantasy. This was never something that was meant to happen. We were never actually meant to get in. When are the police coming?
You don't see prisons like that built anymore.
It was so infuriating because it was like we'd come so close. How on earth could they have known that we were coming?
Christ almighty. Whoa, I didn't see you there. No, I'm joking, we're not doing that. This is the 4th issue of the official Urbandoned magazine, and we're excited to announce you can pre-order it now. After taking some time out, we are finally ready to release another insight into our explorations, where you can read articles from our most unseen and thrilling ones. We are confident that this is the most packed and fascinating magazine yet. Take Reading Prison, for example. We have a great article written by Ollie, talking about our dedication and obsession towards this explore for so many years, and finally cracking it once and for all. You can pre-order issue 4 of the Urbandoned magazine now, linked in the description. Make sure you grab your copy before its full release in November. Now, let's get on to today's episode. Reading Prison. Where do I start?
My relationship with Reading Prison started back in, I'd say about 2018, I think. Just starting out with urbex and got the train to Reading to check this prison. I thought it was insane. It's this massive abandoned prison right in the city centre in the south of England, and nobody has ever looked at it. And I was a sort of keen, like 14-year-old, and I thought, yeah, got down there, had a look at it. Yeah, can't get in, no hole in the wall. For years, it would taunt me.
What's the time again?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There has never been an abandoned place that we have spoken about more. It's always been a topic of conversation, whether it's fretting about different access points or coming up with a strategy to do it, or thinking about consequences that could happen. We've spoken about it for years. To understand the full gravity of the historic structure, we need to go back to 1844, when Reading Gaol was built in Berkshire, England on the grounds of the former county prison. It would operate as a local prison for both men and women through the 19th century. In November 1895, perhaps the most widely known prisoner arrived. Irish writer Oscar Wilde was transferred to Reading for the remainder of his 2-year sentence for gross indecency, homosexual acts. After his release in 1897, he writes the Ballad of Reading Gaol. During both wars, the site is occupied by the military before returning to operation as a Category B men's prison. The outdated Victorian building was 150 years old, which had its complications. By 2010, the government was reducing costly prisons, and the dwindle of offender numbers in the area enabled the official closure in November 2013. The building was made even more significant and locally adored after its demise, when a Banksy appeared on its perimeter wall, causing worldwide attention.
I'd like to see it. Okay, so I'm going to ask you firstly, Matt, why is the prison so important to Reading?
It's just such an amazing site, isn't it? Absolutely incredible that in Reading we've got this amazing building and this wonderful history. And isn't it amazing today that we've got 1,000 people here to show how much they support our town and our history? Isn't that incredible?
There's only a limited amount of places of that scale that are still yet to be done. The clock was ticking. As more time went on, we'd see more places done either by ourselves or by other urban explorers, but this prison has just been sat there for a decade.
There are plenty of massive, really cool decaying buildings all over the country, some of which won't have been done, but there is nothing as alluring and as so obvious as a city centre prison.
All right, tonight's the night. Reading prison is getting done. Ollie, when did you first check this place?
So I first got the train to Reading in 2017 and walked around this prison. I've just fucking checked it every, in the last 2-3 years, literally every week. So
8 years later, we're now in 2025, and we finally believe that if we give it our all, if we can finally crack it. Currently 4:45 in the morning. Which way?
left, the only way.
To here already. And then
Sirens are
go
ringing
right
out.
lane.
It's poetic, I think.
We'll see how this goes.
Problem is, there's only so much planning we can do when we literally don't know what's on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, there's so many variables here that could change. When you arrive at Reading Prison, you immediately see the wall. It's so high, going all the way around, and you know that just over the top there's coils of razor wire. You're always going to struggle getting into a place that was designed so you couldn't get into it or out of it. The fact it's in the city centre as well is a nightmare because the area around it is always busy, even through the night. You barely get a gap to try anything. Time for a final recce with the drone, just to make sure that there's no one on site, any cars beyond the wall that we can't see.
We put in so much planning. I spent so many late nights on the computer looking up anything that might give us a way forward with it.
Everyone was locked in. It's not common these days because we've done so much urbex and everything becomes second nature that we really have to focus on a building. I've never seen me, Ollie, or any of the other boys this focused on not messing up, not putting a foot wrong. Everybody knew what the plan was and we just had to execute it, and we felt like we'd be in.
So I was just driving by, just literally a matter of hours before we were actually going to go and do the actual attempt. Just a last ditch check. Let's just make sure everything's ironed out. There's no emergency security guard on site or something. To my horror, they'd installed these cameras with sensors on the outside. And I honestly couldn't believe it. The fact that this place had been abandoned for well over 10 years, how on earth could they have known that we were basically coming?
What are we saying?
I was thinking about this last night. There's not really,
Not
other
really
than
anything
like
you can
saying
say.
that we're workers. But the only thing I can think is, right now they're renovating. They're turning like one of the old Debenhams in the shopping centre in town into like a new shop. And I know there's loads of workers there. They probably start early. We could say we walk into the Oracle. And so we can work into that.
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Find out.
It was a really cold night, but I think almost the adrenaline was keeping us warm, keeping us going.
Everything being so planned, to hear something suddenly happen to the building that's sat the same for the last decade, it was really surprising, and it meant for us that they are clearly clued up on the building. They aren't just letting it sit and rot, they do care about it. We don't know what the response might be if we do go in front of one of those cameras. So we had our route. We go up to the prison, ladder in hand, ladder gets stretched up. Oh, is that the cam flashing?
gonna have to fucking do it. Hope it doesn't alert anyone. We made it onto the roof of the gatehouse.
We look down into the abandoned site and it just looks amazing. At that point, I felt like I had to get down there and explore it. It was so tantalising to see such an untouched abandoned site, overgrown and old.
All we had to do was get down. However, a random security guard appeared literally out of thin air. It's just like one of those put your head in your hands moments, like the jig is up. Physically, we could have continued with the plan, but we knew that there was no point.
All best made plans usually end up with us improvising, so we knew we would have to do that, and we thought, tonight's not the night, let's just get some rest, rethink and come back another day.
The place had been bought, so we kind of knew things were going to start happening. We had to get in there quick because now that it's in the news, and although everybody knew about it, it's easy to forget about these things when they just sit dormant for so long. The time was now, it was now or never.
We'd seen the prison, we'd been on top of the gatehouse looking in. It was addicting to want to get back onto that gatehouse undetected. We knew those motion sensors were there, so we needed to come up with a way to get past them without being seen. Hours and hours spent strategizing a new route. We felt we finally had a way. We wanted all four of us to do it, but sadly the other two couldn't make it, and it had to be spontaneous. When the time came for me and Ollie, the prison was too good to lose. We get to the car park, we sit, looking at each other.
Absolutely terrified. I have not felt like that in a very long time. This is literally something that I had dreamed about and basically, got to the point of, it was more elusive than I thought it could ever be a reality. I guess when you're confronted with your dream, sometimes it could play out maybe differently than you expect. It took some persuasion. As apprehensive as I might have felt, I just knew that actually, if I just do it, then I will never regret it.
We walk towards the prison to our new destination to try and access. We climb over a few fences and then we're in touching distance with the sensor's radius, we believe. We walk up towards it thinking it's going to go off, it's going to go off. Any second now it's going to go off and the whole thing's going to be fucked, it's going to be impossible. And we get closer, we get closer, we get up to the wall where we'd climb up and it's not gone off. We clamber up the ladder, up to the top of the gatehouse. Again, we can see the tantalising, overgrown site.
Our excitement quickly faded when we realised actually getting up was the easy bit.
The way that it's designed with the razor wire means that the ladder isn't going to connect to the corner of the roof. There's a step, there's a gap where all you can see beneath you is this horrible spiky razor wire.
It was honestly one of the sketchiest things I have ever seen. Possibly the most sketchy thing that I think we've ever done.
One of us has to just step over and send it pretty much and hope that it's secure enough that it's not going to move.
Let's fucking go.
I took that step.
It is literally like taking a leap of faith and putting your trust in that ladder, and I did it. And honestly, it just goes like that. I remember just moments afterwards being on the ladder, being stable, knowing I can actually climb down into the prison.
We're there in the prison's grounds beyond the wall and we're inside Reading Prison. Feeling as if this is fate. Stashing the ladder to come back to later. And then we're going to go in and wait for sunrise.
on the tarmac of the prison side and looking up at these walls that I have stared at almost every day for the last 3 years. Being inside a prison is a very unique feeling. Many people would have stared at those walls, wishing to do exactly the opposite of what we had just done.
Yeah, there ain't nobody in there, that's for sure. That was one of our many concerns.
Dreamed for this night.
After so much conversation, we were finally there, and we could see the huge shadows of this Victorian prison that we were about to go inside and explore. Right, where are we?
We're in HMP Reading for the fucking first time ever. After literally like 7 years of trying.
It's 2017 when you first checked this place.
8 years. 8 years of wanting this place, being taunted by it. And finally, we've got in. It's currently about 7:30 in the morning. Pitch dark outside. We're just waiting for the sun to come up so that we can start taking our pictures and shooting the video.
The light starts to fill the prison, and we begin to make out one of the best abandoned buildings we've ever seen.
Staring at the gatehouse, I had two thoughts really. One, when are the police coming? Two, how on earth has this happened? Part of it would have been sleep deprivation, I think. It just seemed like a fantasy. This was never something that was meant to happen. We were never actually meant to get in.
Upon closure in 2013, the Category B prison had a capacity of around 300 men. 12 years onward, as daylight broke, it was 2.
Okay, daylight has filled the prison. It's now time to take a look around. I'm already noticing things that we didn't notice in the dark, such as the green. Wow. We already had a glimpse into the cells and could see that every single one is so intact, more intact than any prison I've seen before. Beds, cupboard, sink. This place is honestly amazing. The ironwork in here is lovely. The stairs and banisters are all beautifully decorated, and it's very, very old. It's like a castle from the outside. It's no surprise it's like this inside. There isn't too much daylight getting in though. It is quite dark in here, which I pulled out the torch still. think it is just a mixture of an overcast day and the prison being quite old and not having too much natural light. I'm not going to show you every single cell. You get the idea after one or two. Look at the design on this. It's a classic prison. Saw very similar things in HMP Camp Hill. This is the central tower. Such a huge open space. It's so dark, but wow. Look at that ceiling up there. Oh my God. It's incredible that this isn't a museum with how old it is. You've got the control booth there for all the cell doors, I'm pretty sure. Don't see prisons like that built anymore. They go for practicality these days. They don't design them based on impressive architecture. But Reading Prison was designed to be imposing, intimidating, and that's the way it looked. Staircase at the end there is quite interesting. Definitely gonna have to check that out. Cell layouts. That one's only got a single bed. That was the first one like that. And then a shower room that seems to have been repurposed into storage. The stair lift is interesting. I wonder if that was added in when the prison was opened for museum tours briefly. Seems a bit unusual. This door symbolises that this bit would probably not have housed prisoners, maybe staff. Oh, there is a bed there. But these doors are not cell doors at all. All these rooms are just empty. This looks like some construction work has gone on. Looking outside, it does look like little bits are happening. But yeah, this doesn't look very interesting. And the building doesn't go far this way either. It's the final wing that we haven't touched yet. But it's looking very repetitive, so I think it's time we ascend through the net that's always there in these prisons, and all of a sudden it goes from green to red. Look at that. And even in the cells, everything, all the furniture is all red. The doors are all red. Wow, it's more light up here. I wonder if they were known as the red sections, the green sections, and I can see above is the blue sections as well. That's how they distinguished them. Seems to change here. I imagine that this little booth would be the controls for these doors. And these cells are different as well. These look like more secure cells. Everything seems more safe for prisoners that might want to harm themselves. And they're also single person. Seems the blue section started on this level. God damn. It's not going to get old going back to that central bit. So atmospheric prisons, and so photogenic as well. Oh wow, quite a lot of decay. Plaster falling from the chipping ceiling onto the bed. And the sink's collapsed in itself as well, I think because something's landed on it from above. I almost won't go into too many more cells, but what's quite cool is that the name of the last prisoner is still here on every single cell. Imagine these would have been offices for important staff of the prison, maybe a operator's room as well for cell doors. Oh, this looks cool in here. Don't need my torch for this. It's a gym, can tell by the floor markings. Oh my god. Wow, the architecture is stunning. You would not see this in a modern day prison, that's for sure. Those windows are that of a castle from a fairy tale. You can see the water damage coming in as well. The walls are chipping and decaying. Flooding has begun.
Walking around the building, it was very clear that it had just been insanely well preserved. Considering it had been shut for over a decade, we couldn't see anything new that had been added. There didn't seem to have been any work done on it whatsoever. It just seemed completely surreal.
This is one of the longest bits with no staircase. You can really appreciate the scale of these wings and how many people would be crammed into these cells, losing all sense of privacy. It's time for us to go up again. Take a closer look at the arched roof. So everything's blue here. Cells look pretty much the same, albeit this one has a mattress and a pillow and a small cutlery set. Bit unnerving, but I don't think anyone's been sleeping in here for a long time. It's a contrast to the earlier cinematic where I had to wait for about a minute for a car to go past. It is very busy now. Slightly worrying for our exit, but we will see.
The getting out was something I literally just put to the back of my mind. It was not something I even wanted to think about. The concern did grow as we were in there for longer. We got in the middle of the night when there was nobody about, and we were very lucky that nobody really drove past while we were going in. And even when they did, if one car or so went past, we would completely freeze, just stay shadows in the night. You are not afforded that in the middle of the day. It's literally on the inner ring road. There are hundreds of cars going past all the time. It was not something I was looking forward to.
There's not much going on at the top floor, besides a tad bit more decay and a lot of cells. It's very photogenic. There's nothing blocking this central bit besides the cage, obviously. I wonder why they boarded up those skylights. I guess it'll look a lot different in here when the power's on. That's the opposite side, with the staircase sealed over for some reason. These are the showers that look like they were modernised shortly before closure. Some privacy compared to the Irish prison that we saw a couple of years ago, but not really much. It's been monitored all the time. It's even more decayed up here. This is the level above the chipping below. Or at least that first one was. Must be a water problem there. That brings us to the end of the main cell block. There's still more to see. But now we enter uncharted territory. And some bits of it there, likely under construction, we feel might have sensors. So we might move around some of them quickly. We will see. We'll see what is there. But this bit has been pretty special. And worth the trouble for sure. Have that sort of building to ourselves for a few hours was pretty incredible. I don't think many people could say that they've spent a few hours alone in a prison that size. So we're heading up that interesting staircase on the ground floor, which should take us into a different section. There's a lot of pigeons already, I can hear that. Okay, like a chapel? Or a theatre maybe? Or a conference room?
I've seen the picture from this room before. I remember thinking it must have been this block.
Ah, these are the kitchens. They're totally stripped though. That must mean that the canteen is nearby. Wonder if any of these were original. I doubt it, to be honest, but yeah, these are definitely the kitchens. You can tell because they always end up waterlogged. Is it the canteen?
I guess so.
Oh my god, I've never seen a camera that big.
It's like Aberfour.
That is absolutely massive. Yeah. More cameras. I'm actually clueless as to what this could be.
Yeah, toilets.
Is this maybe workshops, just based on the netted bit above the little rooms?
Almost look like the the workshops were kind of more when we came in, when the doors were open, the bars were on the ground floor. But I don't know. I mean, there's certainly nothing left of whatever it used to be.
No, there's nothing to give us any hints. Ah. Graffiti? Oh no. It's designs, this would be like arts and crafts. You can already see the paint on the walls from hours of fun in here. Maybe. Yeah, that sink looks like a very washy paintbrushes sink as well. Makes sense that there would be workshops then if this is that.
Unless it's solitary confinement.
They do have scared me as well. All the doors have the hatches to watch whoever is in there, so I'd imagine so. And I mean, that CCTV camera means it's not staff.
Yeah. Solitary, but they've just taken out the bed.
Yeah. Doesn't seem too, like, protected though. The door looks kind of weak compared to...
Yeah, no, it's a good point, actually.
This could be visitation.
Yeah.
It's missing the tables and chairs that Cork had, but I feel like the radiators over there, there's so many of them. Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I see.
yeah, they've used machines.
It's a shame there's none of them left. It's a very cool sign. We're just accessing the few bits that we haven't been in yet. Hopefully there's some kit left in here.
So far, it seems to be quite stripped.
Nothing.
Even the ceiling's not in here.
Oh yeah, that's not a good sign.
No. Bars on the window inside the roof.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Something in here.
There's a little dentist.
Ah. Oh yeah. Something at least. It's a shame the chair's not here.
Yeah.
Still moves around.
Yeah, I swear I've seen these at the dentist before.
Leaving was always going to be a problem. We'd got in the dark and no one had seen us. The roads outside were packed with cars and we knew that as soon as we got onto that gatehouse, someone was going to see us and call the police. We finished everything. The last bit is the gatehouse. We left it to last because I feel like it's the most likely bit for it to be sensors, but yeah, that's where the lorries would enter the prison. See the red light in the room. The mattresses would suggest that someone definitely has been in there, living in there at some point, but doesn't look like it for a while. Christ almighty. This is just on.
Don't touch it.
I'm just going to get rid of the warning sign.
Oh my god. Oh my god, that's gonna shit.
That's it there.
Oh my god. Shall I try it?
Yeah, fuck it. There's nothing on it.
Is it on the latch?
No, it needs a yank, I think.
But it's the handle. Oh my god.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
perfect. Show it, man.
No way. Oh my god, that's literally changes everything.
I'll just leave it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fucking perfect.
Oh my god.
Okay.
This is about to feel too good to be true if we open this and there's just no one there.
I can't see anyone on the cams.
Imagine looking on the cams and just seeing loads of police going.
We might wait for the police come.
Yeah, we maybe should.
Unless they pull up here. Slightly behind you. Yeah, so let's go.
I don't think anyone's going to be more confused than the building owner or security watcher when he sees those cams and sees us walk out with a ladder with no idea when we went in. Holy shit. Let's fucking go, man.
Let's fucking go. I genuinely look back on that night like it was a fever dream. It just doesn't seem real that we can actually have done that. I think especially the fact that it happened all the way through the night. We finished it and basically just went to sleep. It literally does just feel like a dream.
There are scarce abandoned buildings like that these days that aren't done, aren't seen. The prison deserves to be documented, especially before it's converted. And it was a privilege for us to be the ones to get inside and hopefully make a video that equals what we felt as we were exploring it.
Since closure, besides a few film productions using the prison and an art installation in 2016, the complex has remained abandoned to the dismay of Reading's citizens. Only recent evidence supports the potential revival of the vacant structure into a hotel and museum.
It's honestly one of the best nights of my life. I think it would be very, very difficult to top Reading Prison. We've arguably done better prisons on the inside, but as an explorer, nothing will ever beat it. And it almost feels strange to say that. I'll continue exploring, even knowing that nothing can actually get to that high again. Where do we go from here?
Here are some of our photographs captured at the abandoned Reading prison. If you like the look of them, check out our Instagram page in the description, where we share images from our explores months before they are seen on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed what we consider one of our greatest episodes ever. If you want more of this style, let us know. Remember to pre-order issue 4 of the magazine using the link below. See you next time.